Hello, everybody. Welcome to this month's RELO Andes webinar. I'm so happy to have you here. The topic for our webinar today, we're going to be talking all about Forum and English Teaching Journal. And I have a special guest with me today that you'll meet a little bit later. Her name is Beatriz Erazo. She is the author of an article in Forum Journal. Her article is titled Online Double Communication Lines to Enhance Student Interaction. So she'll be joining us today in this webinar to share her experience publishing in Forum Journal, which is really exciting. I'm so excited to have a special guest this month. It's so nice to meet you. If you haven't joined us for a webinar this year, my name is Kati Casto. I'm an English language specialist. I would love if you could jump into the comments section and share with me where you are joining from. Hello, hello. I see hello from Peru, hello from Bangladesh. Welcome. Thanks for joining us live. Thanks for being here. Welcome, everyone. So happy to see you. Hello, welcome. Hello from Buenos Aires. Welcome, everyone. So great to see you joining live. And welcome to everyone who's watching the recording afterwards. We're so happy to have you here. So a quick reminder, our RELO Andes webinars happen on the third Thursday of each month. Make sure that you're following on Facebook to see what's coming up. There's also a lot of really great stuff coming out on the RELO Andes Facebook, resources and videos. So make sure that you pay attention to the RELO Andes Facebook. Hello from Bolivia. Welcome, everybody. Joining from Baltimore. Welcome. So the goal of today's webinar is to understand the English Teaching Forum, this journal, and the process for publishing. So it's an opportunity for you to be a published writer in this journal as well. And we're going to hear from Beatriz some advice for how to submit an article successfully, some advice from her experience being a published author in Forum. So that's the goal for today. So I'm going to start by sharing with you quite a bit of information about English Teaching Forum. Forum is a quarterly peer-reviewed journal that is celebrating 60 years of publication this year, which is very exciting. It's been around for 60 years now. This journal is focused on the practice of teaching English. So they say it's by teachers for teachers. The contributors to this journal are teachers, and they write articles specifically for teachers of English, which is really special. English Teaching Forum is available in print, so you can have it printed in your hands, and it's also available online for your access. So you can access English Teaching Forum in both of those forms. Here's a screenshot from the American English website. This is where you can find Forum issues, current issues, and the archive of past issues if you haven't read them before. They're all available on the American English website. So I'm going to outline there are 6 key sections of the English Teaching Forum journal. And it's important to know these different sections because you might submit an article for any of these sections that I'll describe. Maybe as I'm talking about a section, you can start thinking about some ideas you might have to be published in Forum. So the first 3 we'll talk through are the sections of articles, the teaching techniques, and the try this section. The articles is an opportunity for you to share a detailed description of a practice or an approach that you use in your teaching practice. Articles can be up to 6,000 words. So this is quite an extensive article, a piece of writing for you to share. I put on the screen some examples of published articles in Forum, something like Radio Drama for Speaking Practice that was published by Jonathan in 2018, or How to Write an ELT Conference Abstract that was published in 2019. These articles are really detailed descriptions of a practice that you use in your classroom. The next section is the teaching techniques section. That's where you can describe a successful teaching practice. That's a short, very straightforward article. So some teaching techniques could be things like activities that you use, Extended Icebreaker, published in 2019 by Alex Barrett. Mingle Bingo was published in 2020. So these are shorter articles focused on a successful teaching practice, something that you use that you want to share with other English teachers. And then the try this section is where you present a teaching idea in a step-by-step form. So this is where you could describe step-by-step an idea you have for teaching, and also give some options for variations or extensions. Some try this topics that have been published recently. Lip syncs, Speaking with a Twist, was published in a 2019 Forum journal. Word Salad, a vocabulary reinforcement game, published in 2020. So the try this section is step-by-step with variations or extensions, ideas for teaching. Now, the last three key sections of the Forum, English Teaching Forum journal are the Reader's Guide, the My Classroom section, and what we call the lighter side section. The Reader's Guide includes pre-reading and post-reading questions about specific Forum articles. So it's a way for readers to be engaged in their own professional learning, their understanding and reflection. It can be specifically for teacher discussion or for use in teacher discussion groups or training. The My Classroom section is one of my favorite sections. It's an article that highlights a teacher or a school anywhere across the world. It shows the rest of the world what it's like to teach English in that place in your specific classroom. This section has a little bit of a different submission process. So you submit a proposal first before writing your My Classroom article. But it's really interesting to see all the different classrooms around the world and how they're described in Forum, in the My Classroom section. And then finally, the last section is the lighter side section. This is where you'll find puzzles, language-based puzzles for teachers and also for your learners. They're on the inside cover of each issue of Forum, and they're fun to solve. They can be used for your own English practice or with your students as well. So those 6 key sections of Forum you'll find in every issue of Forum. On the website where you can see the current and the past issues, you can switch through and see all those different sections. So when we get into our interview with Beatriz, she's going to share with us her experience submitting to Forum, but I'll run through very quickly what the process looks like so that you have an idea of what happens when you go to be published in Forum. It starts with you as the author submitting your manuscript for review. That's the very first step. You write and submit your manuscript. An editor at Forum will read your submission and decide to either send the submission to reviewers or to reject your submission at that step. If the editor sends your submission to reviewers for review, the review panel members will review your manuscript and accept, reject, or revise, resubmit, ask you to revise or resubmit your manuscript. The editor will then notify you, the author, of the panel's decision. So if they want to accept, reject, or ask you to revise your submission. If you have revised and resubmitted your submission, the reviewers will then decide to accept or reject your article, and that's step 5. And if accepted, step 6 is that your article will be copy edited, so it'll be prepared for publication. You'll have a chance to approve the edited version of your article. And once it's approved, ta-da, your article will be published in Forum. So you can see through this submission and review process that the process is very back and forth between the author of the article, you as the author, and the review committee and the editors at Forum. So you have a system of reviews, potential revisions, potential rejections, potential accepting as well throughout the process. And it provides for some feedback as you're going through the submission process. So I'm curious if you'll jump in the comments section. Are you interested in publishing in Forum? Do you have any ideas for an article at this point? For me, I have never published in Forum, but I have lots of ideas for articles. So it would take me investing in my own process, taking time to write my article, to make sure that I'm getting feedback from colleagues to submit my article, making sure that my article is something that's new, that I think I haven't seen before in Forum, before I can submit a manuscript and see if it's accepted into Forum. Oh, I see Alejandra says, yes, I have some ideas. That's great. Angela would like to publish about disability and inclusive education. Awesome. I'm glad we have so many interested in publishing in Forum. This will be a great webinar for you to hear a little bit more about the process. Yeah, definitely need to think well about what you want to share. Thank you. So the great news is today we have a very special guest joining us who's going to talk all about her experience publishing in Forum. Her name is Beatriz Erazo, and I'm going to invite her to join us now to tell us a bit about her process.
Hi, Katie. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you.
I'm happy too, excited, and a little bit nervous as well.
That's all right. No need to be nervous. We're excited to hear about you. So I wonder if we can start. Will you tell us about yourself and your journey as an educator, as an English teacher?
Yeah, that's kind of a long story, so I'm going to make it short. This year, I'm in October, I'm going to be reaching my 30 years of teaching English. I started in a very small town in the southern part of Tarija in Bermejo, and I fell in love with teaching English. So I learned everything I could just by practice. So I was a bad teacher at the time. And then I decided to move back to La Paz. Right now I'm in La Paz, Bolivia. I studied linguistics, and I already had some experience teaching English, so that helped me. When I was studying linguistics, when I was learning about teaching English, the experience that I had like helped me a lot to learn what is it to be a real English teacher. Well, I had the opportunity to work in great places like the Binational Center, Centro Boliviano Americano, and currently I'm teaching English at San Pablo Bolivian Catholic University, and I also teach oral and written communication and applied linguistics at Mayor de San Andres, Mayor de San Andres University here in La Paz as well. And there was a moment in my life that I felt that I was not doing my best job, that I needed to improve not only my teaching skills, but also my level of English. So I saw a poster on a wall, and I called my daughter and I said, "Oh, there is a poster here that say I could apply for the scholarship." And my daughter said, "Go for it, mom. And the worst thing that can happen to you is that you're not going to get the scholarship." So I got the scholarship. I got a Fulbright scholarship. So I went to Vermont. I studied at the SIT Graduate Institute. I got a Master of Arts degree in teaching English to speakers of other languages. And that like opened my eyes to exactly what it is to be an English teacher. And here I am, happy, and I cannot believe that it's going to be 30 years already.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And what an inspiration that you went after a scholarship and got it and have continued your learning as a teacher. That's really great.
Yes, Katie, that's something that you never stop doing. You are always learning. You learn from your students. And yeah, that's amazing.
That's right. Well, I wonder, can you tell us, how did you first hear about Forum?
Oh, that's interesting. When I came to La Paz, before I started studying linguistics, I got a job at the Centro Boliviano Americano, the Binational Center. And like at least twice a year, they gave us these free copies, of the magazine. And it was a donation from the American Embassy. At first I just got the magazine. I just put it away because I was so busy teaching. But then once I needed to find a solution for a problem, and somebody suggested, but why don't you read this magazine? It has nice ideas. And I had like at least 4 or 5 of them at home already, so I started looking at them. And yeah, I found a solution for the specific problem that I had at the time. So I decided to pay more attention to the magazine. It was not just receiving it and having there on my bookshelf. When I went to study in Vermont, I was doing some research and I found a beautiful article from one of my professors at the time. And when I saw it, it was published in Forum, and I said, "Oh wow, my amazing professor has published in Forum. Forum is something amazing." So since then, I have just been treasuring all, uh, all, all the articles that I read there, and I just like it because they are very practical. They are they are written in a simple language. It's easier to understand, and I'm totally sure that maybe not this month, but in past issues or maybe in future issues, you're going to find the response you're looking for. So that was it. I have to admit that at the beginning I didn't pay much attention, but now I read them all
Well,
as
that's
soon as I
great.
get.
Yeah, well, it's so encouraging to hear that you found solutions to problems you were having in your classroom right there in Forum and that you had access to it. If I didn't say, Forum's a publication of the US Department of State, the Office of English Language Programming. So having access to Forum is a really great resource that that the U.S. Department of State provides us as teachers.
Absolutely. And now it's easier because you can have access to the online issues. So if you don't have them, physically, you can find them on the website. And that is a really help because nowadays, we are thinking it's sometimes you cannot have too many magazines with you, and sometimes you move from one house to house. What happened to me, and I was like, what am I going to do with all my magazines? And I had to make a horrible decision that to donate them to a library. And I said, at least there are other teachers that are taking advantage on them.
That's great.
And now I've recovered my donated issues because I have access to them online.
All online, definitely. Well, can you tell us what was your process like writing your article for Forum? Like, what steps did you take to write your article?
I think it all began when I heard Gonzalo Fortun. He works at the American Embassy here in La Paz, and he just one day he was talking to us. He was giving us a workshop about ESP, and he said, "Do you like Forum?" And we all said, "Yes, we love Forum." And he said, "You should write an article for Forum." But at that time, it was like, no, that's not possible, because I remembered my professor from the master's program and said, no, I'm not at that level. Then I met a very beautiful friend. Her name is Araceli Salas from Mexico. She's my mentor. And then I saw that she was publishing, and that she is the editor-in-chief of Lenguas en Contexto. And I said, she's doing it. So I sent an article first for her, and then she said, Beatriz, you have potential, but we need to help you. And then she helped me in the process. This, what you said, is back and forth. And I published this article with Lenguas en Contexto, and I felt very empowered. And after that happened, again, Gonzalo, I don't remember how, he said, you should publish in Forum. I said, okay, this time I'm going to here. So I'm a practitioner. So my focus is teaching English. My focus is being in the classroom with the students and trying to find the best strategies and activities and techniques that you can do for them to learn. And I learned about these double communication and these communication lines that were presented in the AE webinar series that they give on Facebook. And I tried those techniques in my classes, and they worked pretty well, and my students enjoyed it. And there was this control that I had, but my students had the freedom to use the language. And then the pandemic happened, and you feel frustrated because you want to use those beautiful activities that worked well in your on-site classes. And I decided to adapt that technique. So I tried once, I failed miserably. Then I tried again. So it started working better. You learn it's a matter of trial and error. And when it finally worked well, then I said, this is something that I should share. So I decided to make a couple of presentations with these ideas, and it had a very good reception. So I wrote the article based on my experiences, and I inhaled very deeply one night, and I said, okay, I'm going to send it. And after a couple of weeks, I received a response. It's not that you're going to receive a response like immediately. Tom responded to me, and he said, this is something that we would consider. He explained to me that the process was going to take a while, so that I should be patient. Then after a couple of months, he sent it back and I said, the reviewers say this, and that. Do you have these suggestions? Read it again, do these improvements. So I worked on it again. I tried to work on it fast, but one thing that you have to do is to find a person that could read your manuscript before you send it. So I asked my daughter to read it. So not because she's an English teacher, but she speaks English very well, and I wanted to make sure that I was exactly saying what I wanted. And she said, yes, it makes sense. She asked me some questions, so everything went well. So I sent it again. And after some some months they said, okay, we have some small observations, and I sent it back again. And I think it was November last year, they said, Beatriz, we're going to publish it. I cried.
I
I cried.
bet.
It's a long process. I think in my case, it took at least 1 year. We were in the middle of the pandemic when I sent it. But when they said, we're going to publish, I felt like, I don't know if it's going to be as impactful because we are about to finish the pandemic, but everything that we have learned during pandemic is not going to go away. And then Tom asked me, why don't you send a very short biography? And he helped me work with my biography, and we are going to publish it next year. So just be patient again. And some weeks ago said, oh, congratulations, Beatriz. It's published exactly as you did. Ta-da! Yes. So one of the elements is trust yourself, trust your experience. I trusted my experience. And the second thing is that I had to be very patient, because sometimes you expect that you're going to send the article and they're going to give you the answer like in 2 weeks. And no, it doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for describing the process, because as I went through those steps, there's 8 steps listed there, but they can take a long time, right? So that idea of being patient is really important. You talked a little bit about your article topic and some people who supported you during the process, people who boosted your confidence, maybe believed in you and encouraged you. How else did people support you? You had someone read your article at one point. How did that go with people supporting?
I asked my daughter to read it, but in fact, to be sure that I was writing about something that had to work well, I have to say thank you to my colleagues, my friends that accepted, being my guinea pigs at times. And I had to record a video about it once, so I could see it and also present it. And I called my family, my nephews, my friend Marcela and Angela, and said, please be my students in this. And watching the video was also something interesting to me, because I watched the video, I watched my presentation, and I wrote the things that could happen, so I could have a clear idea of that. So I want to say thank you to my family that also helped me there. And I think my greatest supporter is always my daughter, because she always reminds me that the worst thing that can happen to you is they're going to say no. And you are going to be, the same person, the same profession, and nothing bad is going to happen to you, but you are going to grow up professionally because you learn from the experience. And I'm very thankful to Tom, because he also helped me a lot, like his patience, responding to my emails, all the suggestions that the editor sent me. And if I think there was a couple of times that I didn't understand what they wanted me to revise, and they responded to me with lots of patience. So you feel that you are supported. The same thing when I published with Araceli, I felt supported, and I think that's a marvelous thing from the editors, that they are very patient with you and they understand that you are struggling. Also during this process that I was submitting my article, I became assistant editor of Mestizo Journal, and I learned how to be an editor. So I said, oh, now Beatriz, now I understand. Jeremy said, now I understand why Tom said that. So, you grow professionally from that. So yes, and of course, my students, that they are always my guinea pigs. You are always testing with them your ideas, your techniques, and it's from them that you get your best suggestions for teaching, and then based on the teaching, articles that you could send to forum.
Absolutely. Wow, thanks for sharing all those people that became part of your journey to being published. Well, my last question for you, Beatriz, is what advice do you have for other teachers who are interested in publishing in Forum?
Don't write about something that you don't know would be my first one. So write about what you do. Write about what you feel confident doing in your practice, in your classes. Forum is a magazine that is focused to help on helping teachers, you know. And then I like when it says it's for teachers, made by teachers, and it is true, because many of the things that you find in Forum you can apply to your classes. You can adapt, even if you can do it exactly what they say in the article, you can adapt. So first, use your personal experience. Don't try to write about something that you do not know. I tried to do it, like I was going to send a different article before, but I hated it. I hated it. I just did not like it. So I had to change. And probably I'm going to say I wasted a year. No, I learned that my experience is going to tell me exactly what I have to do. Read. After you have an idea in mind, read. Read the articles in Forum, because you're going to have an idea of what it is expected from you, the type of language they expect from you, also the quality, the style that you have to use. Read not only that, but also what the requirements, the guidelines that Forum has for the authors, and do exactly what they ask you. If they say you have to send your manuscript in Word with this format, do exactly like that. It has to be 2,000 words. Stick to the 2,000 words. It has to be APA style or Chicago style. Learn what that is and do that, because when you comply with all those requirements, you are making sure that you have more possibilities to have your article accepted. Um, Ask, yes, other people to read it whenever you have the opportunity. And something that I maybe I don't ask my very good friends to read them, but I always ask them questions indirectly, without telling them this is from my article. I ask them questions, and they share with me their own experiences, so I can reflect on that. Once you have your first manuscript, leave it for a couple of days, maybe for a couple of weeks, and go back. And then you are going to read it like if it were something new. And if you find mistakes or something, you can correct them. And finally, make yourself sure that there is good quality of the language. And I know it's difficult for us because it's our L2. Sometimes we don't know certain small things that the native speakers know. But that part is going to be the job of the editors. They will help you with that. They will tell you, you know, you said this, but it's better if you said it this way. It makes, better sense. So you learn language also. But try to do your best. Read your article as many times as necessary to make sure that you are having a high quality of articles. So I think that that would be all that's what I do. And I think that's what I learned from, submitting articles to other journals as well. And don't feel afraid. If they say no, you can try again, and you can try again, and you are going to learn in the process. I don't see rejections as failures. I see rejections as opportunities to learn, and I love learning. We English teachers are lifelong learners. And finally, yes, be patient. Don't have candy at home, because if you are anxious, you're going to get some extra kilos. Work, and as usual, think of writing another article, and the answer is going to come on time.
Yes, definitely. Man, that is such great advice for us. Thank you so much for sharing. I especially appreciate that you said to read the forum magazines and articles and journals that exist already, because many months ago we talked about how good readers make good writers. So that's
Oh,
great
yes.
advice to share with us. Thanks so much.
Yes, yes, and it's what we tell to our students. It's what we tell our students, right? Do your homework, read. If you're doing research for your thesis, you have to read. It's exactly the same thing that we have to do. Not only because you need some theoretical background, the expert's opinion to support what you are writing about, but also because you are going to learn uh, redaction, academic redaction, how you are supposed to put the words together so to sound formal, when to use the what's the word? Maybe when to use passive voice or active voice. So read in forum. If your focus is forum, read forum.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for that. I'm gonna pull some tips from the forum editors, and some of them mirror your advice for us too, Beatriz. So they're spot on for everybody who's thinking about submitting to forum, submitting an article. The first tip that they give us says to focus on practical ideas rather than research. And you talked about this, Beatriz, that write about something that you know, right? Something that you've practiced in your classroom that you're comfortable with. So I think that's a really practical tip.
I wanted to add something personal to that. I was trying to write an article that it was more focused on research, but that's not me. And then I found myself, I'm a practitioner, and I had to accept it, and things became better. So write about what you know, and you're going to succeed.
Definitely. The next tip is kind of connected to that. It says to present a new and innovative teaching idea. And you commented, Beatriz, that you had started something at the start of the pandemic that with some trial and error with your students as your guinea pigs, right? That you created something new that worked for you in an online environment that was new and innovative.
Exactly. So these ideas were presented by two experts, and I learned them from webinars given by American English for Educators. But if you adapt them and you make them work to your specific environment, to your students, to your own teaching style, it becomes new and innovative. Yes.
That's great. They also say to make the article relevant to a global audience. So Forum, being a publication of the US Department of State, has an audience all across the globe. So having your article something that teachers where you are, but also teachers in other countries could use is important too.
We have an advantage, dear Katie. We are English as a foreign language teachers. Mm-hmm. And I think there are more countries where English as a foreign language teachers work. So it's easier to make it global. Do not feel afraid. Do not feel that because it's your experience here in Bolivia, in La Paz, it's not going to appeal to somebody in China, in Taiwan, or in Uganda. So because we are EFL practitioners, so they are going to feel identified with that.
Absolutely. And then I have one final tip to guide other teachers rather than to report to them. So they say to explain, here's what you can do instead of here's what I did, giving teachers across the globe a guide for what you can do.
Yes, and I think in a previous slide you mentioned there is a section in which they strongly suggest that you add variations. That is something also that Tom helped me with my article. He said, okay, your examples are very good, but think of what happened this or what happened this other. And another thing that my friend Araceli mentioned once is like, always think, Beatriz, that you know, but assume that your readers don't know what you know. So write for them, make it complete for them. Don't write just for you. And exactly that's what you are doing. You are sharing your experience, and you said, okay, maybe you can do this. These are the other possibilities. And I think everything that we have to share is adaptable. So just risk it, put it on a piece of paper, and go for it. The first step is just sitting down and writing and go for it.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks for that inspiration. Well, as we wrap up, I'm going to say thank you again, Beatriz, for being a part of our webinar today and for sharing your experience. You really are an inspiration. I hope you saw all the comments of people cheering you on and thanking you for sharing. You're motivating English teachers across the world to publish in forums. So thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you, Katie, for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you for the people that are here. I've seen the names of my friends, people that I know from Argentina, from Ecuador, from other places. Thank you for being here, and I hope we can, be in contact, and we can do projects together. And I hope soon I'm going to see your names here. Oh, we have a special guest. It's Angela Romay, or it's Humberto Aladino. They also wrote articles for Forum.
That's right. I hope that too. Well, I put on the screen the website for Forum, where you can find it on the americanenglish.state.gov website. The email there is the submission email. You can also find that on the website. And the website has some submission guidelines. So if you have specific questions about how to submit, you want some more information, there's a lot of questions answered on the submission guidelines page for English Teaching Forum. And I'll let you know, our next month webinar will be on the third Thursday of August, August 18th at 2 p.m. Lima time, as per usual. So I hope to see you there for our next webinar. And if you're interested in talking a little bit more about Forum, tomorrow, July 22nd at 2 p.m., I'll be hosting the post-webinar discussion. So right after this webinar, you'll see the link, the Zoom link posted for that. You can join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. Lima time to talk more about this webinar. So thank you again, everyone, for being here, for joining us, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Katie, again. Thank you so much. Bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.